This week on Cartridge Quest, I hit up some garage sales looking for stuff to flip on eBay. I show you everything that sold this week, and I actually get a call back on a lead for some retro video games. Now, let's go hit these garage sales.
Two hours later.
And I totally struck out. I didn't buy a single item. That's how it goes sometimes. Now, before I show you what sold over the weekend, if you're new here, I'm also on a quest to collect the top 164 games of all time. But I can only spend up to 10% of the profits I make flipping items on eBay to add new games to the collection. I'm currently sitting at $68 in the fund with only 13 games left to go. And at the end of the week, I'm going to a retro game convention, and I'm hoping to check a ton of games off the list. So we've got to build that fund fast. Let's get selling. Unfortunately, this week is going to be a little slower than usual. I kind of got to taste a little bit of what, the next 6 to 9 months is going to look like in July because my kids had summer camp. Fortunately, summer camp is over. School doesn't start for a few more weeks. So kind of back to the old pace for a little while, unfortunately. So I'm going to take a temporary dip in sales probably over the next couple weeks, but things are going to pick right back up in September. So I'm going to keep taking photos and listing things as I can, just kind of squeeze that in. Obviously I have to still pack boxes every day to make sure that we keep up with the orders, but the listing is going to slow down a little bit in the near future. But that's okay. I really enjoyed the last month quite a bit, and I really feel like this kind of could be the thing. So yeah, we're just going to keep trucking along, and let's get these 8 items packed up. So first up, we've got this mega memory card from Interact. It was like a save file. I don't even really know how to use it, to be honest with you. Tested it, turns on, saves data, but I don't really know why you would want it, to be completely honest. But sold it for $45 with free shipping. Sold this New York Mets hat, picked up for $2 from a garage sale, sold it for $13 plus shipping. Sold a Herschel bag. I picked this up for $4 or $5 from a garage sale. Sold it for $19 plus shipping. I've got this Ren and Stimpy DVD, picked up for $1 from a garage sale. Sold it for $15 plus shipping. Picked up this Fenton milk glass butter dish. Was very proud of myself for recognizing it, knowing what it was. Picked it up for $5 from an estate sale. Sold it for $30 plus shipping, very quick. Sold a New York Giants jersey. Picked up for $10 from a thrift store, sold it for $35 plus shipping. Got this FDNY sweatshirt, picked up for $1 from a garage sale, sold it for $19 plus shipping, very fast actually, was kind of surprised by that. And sold another swatch from a big watch haul from a thrift store not too long ago. I think I have about $10 into this, sold it for $38 plus shipping. So that is the 8 items I've got today. Let's get these packed up. Now, let's go hit the thrift store. My first find today was this Wilson A360 adult baseball glove. It's $7.50, so it's not a steal, but these sell all day for $20 to $25 plus shipping. They had another glove that was actually a much better model, but it had some condition issues, and it was missing a price sticker, which means they wouldn't even sell it to me anyway. Gotta leave it behind. And nothing in toys or electronics for me today, but I ran through a couple of racks and grabbed a few items. First was this PS5 shirt for $5. That's my size. I'm keeping this one. Next, for only $4, this 100% silk Tommy Bahama shirt. That should be a nice little $10 profit. Finally was this pair of G-Star raw jeans for $7. That should conservatively go for around $30 or so, perhaps more depending on the style. All right, so today is Wednesday. We've got 11 sales over the last 2 days. But before we jump into what sold, we are going to talk about our Wednesday Weird and Wacky Bolo. So this is going to be a weekly segment where I show you something you may have passed over at a garage sale or a thrift store, not realizing that it was worth money. And so today we are going to be talking about vintage trapper keepers. So if you grew up in the 90s, I think these were around in the 80s as well, but especially popular in the 90s. And, it's kind of back to school season. Everybody's doing some shopping, so I thought this was kind of relevant. If you get some that are actually vintage, and especially the Lisa Frank ones, there is a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper with a horse on the front, sold for, on an offer, looks like they got around $200 for it. Another one with a unicorn for $200. We've got a leopard Lisa Frank, $180 plus shipping. Another with the horse, looks like an offer around probably $175. Another one for $180. There's a design, looks like very 80s to me, but another design. This one's not Lisa Frank. This one sold for $150 plus shipping. We've got another one from 1988. Looks like it's got some kind of sports car on the front, $136. Another one with the same design, that sports car, $125. Some Lisa Frank dolphins for $120. A shark for $105. And I've actually sold a couple of these myself. This, they call it Futuro City. So it's very like 90s computer generated graphics type design. Somebody got $80 plus shipping. I didn't get quite that much for mine. Oh, but theirs is new. So I got about 50 pre-owned. I had 2 of them, got 50 each for them. So keep an eye out for these weird vintage 90s Mead Trapper Keepers. So that was this week's Weird and Wacky Bolo. And now let's get into what sold this week. So first up, we've got this Minolta film camera. I think we maybe have like $1 into this one. And unfortunately it didn't work, but we sold it for parts for $10 plus shipping. So still not bad. So next up, I've got this Easton Ghost softball batting helmet. Picked this up for $5 from a garage sale, sold it for $30 and free shipping. Picked up a lot of jerseys from a garage sale. Paid $50 for 7 jerseys, so about $7 each, and sold the first one from that particular bundle for $33 plus shipping. It's this Denver Nuggets Chauncey Billups jersey. Found this Lego horse. It's from the 90s for $1 in a bin of Lego at a garage sale. It was like a huge bin. I really wanted to dig through it a little bit more, but I kind of had to take the low-hanging fruit. I wasn't going to just like dump her bin of Lego out at this garage sale. But I did kind of find a little bit of a diamond in the rough there. Paid her, I think I actually paid her $1. She only asked for 50 cents. I mean, 50 cents. Well, I don't have quarters on me. So I sold it for, very quick actually, for $10 plus shipping. Next up, got this plush. It's from this brand Cuddle and Kind. Paid $3 for this from a thrift store and sold it for $20 plus shipping. Picked up these brand new in the box golf balls for $1 a pack. So I paid the person $4 for all 4 of them at a garage sale. Sold it very quickly for $40 and free shipping. Grabbed this 1978 Star Wars X-Wing for $5 from an estate sale not too long ago and sold it very quickly as well for $24 plus shipping. I've got this Pokemon Black version 2 manual. This came out of that huge video game haul I picked up a few months back, and it was just like kind of in there. I paid him $1,300 for like a ton of stuff, and found this manual loose in there. Took an offer, sold it for $24 and free shipping. Sold a pair of cleats, picked these up from a thrift store for around $10. Sold them for $40 and free shipping. Sold another baseball glove, picked up for a few dollars at a garage sale, sold for $20 plus shipping. And then finally I paid up for this item a little bit, so I'm glad it sold pretty fast. It's this vintage 90s Green Bay Packers jacket. So it's called Apex One NFL Pro Lines. Very cool. Not a Packers fan myself, but you know, if it was your team, this is a very, very cool item. I paid $30 for it from a thrift store, so definitely a little bit risky. You know, it's a good item, so it was worth it. Sold it very fast for $65 plus shipping, and that is what we've got today. Let's go ahead and get these packed up.
Now, thrift run number 2 for this week. They had a couple of controllers in the case, but they were marked at $15 a piece. Just not worth it. And of course, I flipped through the clothing racks and found a couple of gems. First up is this Birdwell board short, which turns out is actually a very desirable style with sold comps around $125 to $150. And I also found this pair of Polo Ralph Lauren pants that should go for around $30 or so with pretty solid sell-through.
All right, so today is Friday. I've got 6 things I gotta pack up today, and we've got some exciting things happening. So first up, tomorrow we are going to a retro game convention. I'm taking every dollar that's in the game fund and trying to find as many games on my list as I can. I only have 13 left, and there's a very good chance I might be able to completely check off this entire list. Obviously, I don't have the money in the game fund right now to actually do that, but I might not see these games again, so if I see something on the list for a good price and in good condition, probably just gonna pull the trigger on it and pick it up and, bank it and pay for it later, because, we're getting down to the wire and it's gonna get really hard to start finding these games. So hopefully I can find a lot of the ones that have been a little bit more elusive. But also later today, I am meeting up with somebody. I actually got a call back from someone I met through a garage sale. They were in my phone as Rick SNES because he told me he had a bunch of boxed Super Nintendo stuff, which is obviously very, very exciting. He sent me a photo last night, and unfortunately, it wasn't Super Nintendo stuff, but it's still very, very nice. And I'm very excited to show you what that is. We'll be picking that up a little bit later today. Hopefully, everything goes well with that. $200 all in on it, and there's one very exciting item that I'm going to be keeping for myself. So again, stick around for that. But for now, let's jump into these 6 items. And up first, we've got this copy of Hello Neighbor 2. Picked this up for $10 on clearance at Target months ago. I think I bought like 20 to 30 games in like one run, which was kind of crazy. Made really good money on all those, kept a bunch of stuff for myself, and this was the final game from that haul. Sold for $21 plus shipping. Sold a pair of Nike cleats. They're called the Trequartistas. Sold them for $50 and free shipping. Picked those up from a garage sale for only $5. Sold this Eli Manning jersey. Picked up for $10 at a thrift store. And sold it for $25 plus shipping. Sold this Invicta women's watch. Picked up for $10 from a garage sale. Sold it for $31 plus shipping. Sold this copy of Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time. Maybe have like $5 or $6 into this. Sold it for $35 plus shipping. And finally paid $5 for this Polo Ralph Lauren Oxford shirt from a thrift store. And sold it on an offer for $16 plus shipping. So that is the 6 items I've got today. Let me get these packed up and then we're going to pick up that video game haul. All right, so just got back from that big pickup. I actually got a call back for once, which is kind of crazy. About 3 months later, as I said. And let me show you everything I got for $200 all in. This is going to pay for it. So we've got 3 consoles. We've got the PS1. Nothing's been tested yet, of course, so that's always the risk. But it just like is what it is. I can't go in their house and like test everything. We've got the PS2 Slim and a PS4. So that's going to pay for everything, plus a little bit of profit. And then, unfortunately, he was a very big sports fan. So I actually found out he was kind of an older guy. I actually found out that this was his stuff. So we've got some boxed and television games. These actually hold some pretty good value. About 20 to 30 bucks a piece, I believe. And they are in good condition. Probably end up trying to sell these myself just because they are a little more valuable and they are in good condition. But if they don't, I'm not opposed to doing like a game store trade-in. And then we've also got a couple other, some boxed NES stuff. Again, unfortunately, some lower value games here. Lots and lots of sports titles, so nothing crazy exciting in here. But you may notice that there's something missing. We do have Mario Brothers. Everybody had a copy of that. Not super valuable, unfortunately. He threw a couple extras in that I didn't expect. So we got some Xbox controllers, some accessories. I actually don't really know the value on these. I'm assuming they're nothing crazy. The iToy, probably just going to end up in the box that I take over to the game store. Again, just try and squeeze like an extra 20 bucks out of this. But the item I'm keeping, and the reason I bought this stuff in the first place, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Price starts for about $220. And after all is said and done, we should be getting this guy for free. Plus a little bit of profit, actually. I think we'll be able to make our money back, plus a little extra, and still keep this really nice copy of Punch-Out in the collection. There's a little bit of wear on it. Nothing crazy. And of course, the game is in there. Not a 5-screw, unfortunately. But yeah, everything is in there. It's beautiful. And we're going to go put this on the game shelf.
And with that, we only generated $344 in profit this week, which leaves us with $102 to spend on N64 games. But we're hitting the convention, so if I see something on my list, I'm picking it up. Either way, let's go hunting. So although we grabbed a ton of games on the list, for $40 total, we are officially adding a copy of Gauntlet Legends, putting us at 88 out of our top 100 N64 games. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.